Welcome back to Busy Garden Life. It has been a busy day on the homestead, and today besides doing all of the other things, I harvested our garlic scapes. Now, garlic scapes are unusual, and sometimes you go, what in the world am I going to do with these things? So I decided to share with you 3 different things that we can do with them. The first one, we are going to dehydrate them. So I wanted to start that tonight so that we can dehydrate them all night and make it into a powder. So it's like a garlic scape powder. You can use it instead of garlic powder. You could mix it with some garlic powder, and then that way you just have extra. You can make garlic powder with it. So you can use like your garlic, what are those, the husks of the garlic that you save and put in the freezer. You can dehydrate that with it and mix them together. I'm just going to do the garlic scapes for right now, since that's what I have time for. So to start, we are going to, I'm gonna get a knife here. We are going to cut off the woody ends, and we're gonna cut off the bulbs. And then I'm just gonna cut them into like 2-inch pieces or so, and I'm going to put them. Yeah. What's that?
What's that?
It's a camera. Hi. Yeah. Hi. So we're going to put it in the dehydrator and let them dehydrate overnight. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. And then we are also going to make a garlic scape pesto. And then we're just gonna chop up a little bit of it and use it as garnish. Shh. We're gonna use it as garnish. So I used a couple of them earlier this week when we made some Korean. Hey. We made Korean. Yeah, here, you want one? We made Korean beef with rice. And so I garnished, instead of using scallions, I just garnished the garlic scapes on top.
Mommy.
You can garnish potatoes, like choice baked potatoes in general, any of your dishes that you would use scallions for. Alexa, stop timer. Any dish that you would use scallions for, you can substitute it and use your garlic scapes. So that's what I am going to just cut up and put in the refrigerator so that we have them, and make a few meals this week with the garnishment. So let's go ahead, and we're gonna start to just chop these off first. I've already washed them off, so if you haven't done that, that's the first thing that we have to do. Here you go. They smell good. And then we're just gonna chop off each of the bulbs.
This don't want it.
Is it good?
This, I want it.
You don't want it? It can be a strong flavor, can it, huh? You gonna try it again? You gonna try it again after you didn't like it the first time?
This don't, Mommy.
All right, so I'm just gonna finish chopping this, and then we're going to put it in our dehydrator and get that going.
Oh, no, Mommy.
Okay.
No, why?
Oh, you wanna put them in there? So that was super quick, especially with my sidekick. We are going to just kind of turn this on and let it dehydrate overnight. And then if you also had a freeze dryer, you could put this in the freeze dryer as well. And then once they're done, then you could just use the food processor to blend them up. So, but I'm gonna use a dehydrator. The freeze dryer is on my Christmas list, wink, wink, husband. And then tomorrow we will process it up, and we will make the pesto tomorrow as well. Okay, so we have let our garlic scapes dehydrate. They probably could even use a little bit more. I'm not sure. I probably should have done them lengthwise too, cut them lengthwise, but we'll see. It'll be fine. Yesterday, I know I said I wasn't gonna do the garlic with it, but I had 3 trays left in my dehydrator, so I decided to grab my garlic peels out of the freezer, and I just added them to it and I dehydrated them as well. So I need more garlic powder anyway, so I am going to put my garlic peels and my garlic scapes together, and we're just gonna make a nice garlic powder with the scapes too. All right, so I'm just gonna add all of it to the food processor. Add all of this to the food processor as well. Garlic peels are kind of nice because they kind of dehydrate almost on their own. They're pretty dry anyway. All right, I'll add the first tray of the garlic, and then I'll add, after it breaks down a little bit, we'll add more. And that's what I was a little worried about. They're not quite dehydrated enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish pulsing this all up, and then I'm going to put them back into the dehydrator for a little bit. But I'm going to pulse all of it. Okay, so I have one more batch. And actually, I think what I'm gonna try and do is put them in my Vitamix. My Vitamix will pulverize things quite a bit. So I'm wondering if it'll get these garlic scapes into a nice fine powder. And the garlic as well. The food processor is not getting it into the small powder that I want it to. So I'm gonna see if the Vitamix will do that instead. So let's do that. I need the food processor out for the pesto, which is the second thing that we are going to make with our garlic scapes. But let's try and finish the powder first. Okay, so I put all of that into my Vitamix container and the last of it. Let's see how well this works instead. Okay, so smells like garlic. Okay, so we've got a good amount in there. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of let this, now it's not a fine powder that you would normally find, but man, the garlic smell is really good. So you could just use this as your powder. I'm gonna try and use my spice grinder to grind it up a little bit more, but there's still some moisture in there, and I think that's part of the problem. So what needs to happen is I'm gonna put a parchment paper on the dehydrator, and I'm gonna let it dehydrate a little bit more. So we can let this kind of go overnight still. Get a hole in the center there. So it shouldn't take as long because it's kind of pretty ground up now, and then we can go ahead and finish grinding it up with the spice grinder probably tomorrow. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish doing this and putting it back in the dehydrator, and then we are going to get making our pesto, which is the second thing that we're going to use with our garlic scapes. And then while the pesto is, or after the pesto is done, all I'm going to do is chop up the few garlic scapes I have left, and we're going to keep that in the refrigerator for use of garnishing a dish. You can use it for, baked potatoes, or we used it for the Korean beef the one night. So whatever you want to use it for, I'm just going to kind of cut off the ends, cut off the bulbs, put it in a plastic bag, and kind of keep it in the refrigerator until we are ready to use it as a garnishment. So let me go ahead and finish this, and then we'll come back for the pesto. Everything's dried out, so I am going to put it in my little coffee bean grinder, spice grinder, and just grind it up nice and fine. And it's a lot better than what it was. It's a lot better than what it was in the food processor. All right, so I don't know if you can see, it's really ground nice and fine now. So you have some of the green in there from the green scape, or the garlic scapes, so it's not going to be your just perfect garlic powder. So I'm just going to add it to our old garlic powder thing, and you can see it's a little different colors, but it's still very garlicky smell and taste. Yum. So I'm just going to finish grinding this up, and this is what you can do for the garlic powder, garlic scape part of it. So now we're going to do the pesto. I'm going to kind of cut off the woodier ends of these, and then also the bulbs. And then I'm just going to kind of chop them into small pieces like before. I have about 10 of them. You want 10 garlic scapes for the pesto. You could add basil to this as well. I do have some basil in the garden, but I think I want to make my own basil pesto. You could also make this and just freeze it. Like if you don't want to use it, I'm going to use this for dinner tonight. We're going to do a pesto pasta with some chicken. If you don't use it tonight, you could freeze this. You could just put it into like ice cube trays, freeze them, and then put them all in a bag. That works as well. Or just store it in the refrigerator for a couple days until you're ready to use it. So we've got these in here, and now we're going to add 1/3 cup of pine nuts. Now you could use walnuts or another nut if you wanted to. Pine nuts can be expensive. I just grabbed some while I was at Costco today because now I can make my basil pesto, and I got a nice big bag of it, so I just grabbed it. All right, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna add a little extra just because we like cheese. All right, you could use a half a lemon juice. I'm gonna use just lemon juice in general, which is probably about 1 tablespoon. But if you had lemons, using a real lemon's good too. And then we're just gonna add some salt and pepper. Shouldn't need too much salt because the Parmesan cheese can be pretty salty. Okay. All right, and we're just going to pulse this up. Okay, So everything's been added. We've pulsed it. We're gonna kind of scrape it down a little bit, and as it's running, we're going to add our olive oil. And kind of bring me over here so you can actually see what I'm doing and not just hear the noise. And you're gonna add about 1/3 cup of olive oil. Okay. Yum. You can kind of see here, we got this nice pesto. Let's taste it. Woo! It's garlicky. Garlicky, cheesy. It's good. So when you mix it with pasta, you won't need very much of the pesto because it is nice and garlicky. And then we're just gonna serve it with chicken. Or you can do it however you want to, but that's what we're gonna do. So that is it. That's it for the pesto part of it. So we're just gonna put this in a bowl. I'm probably not gonna use all of it tonight, so we'll have some left over. I might actually freeze a little bit as well because there's so much of it. So second idea for your garlic scapes is done. The last one we have are just to chop off the ends and the bulbs and use it for garnishments. Not much I can show you there that I already haven't shown you, so we're just going to finish doing that, put them in the refrigerator for another dish this week. So that is it for the garlic scapes. 3 ways. You can use it for garnishment, pesto, and garlic powder. So hopefully that helps to use up all of the garlic scapes that you have. If you have ideas, drop them in the comments so that I can look at them and see what maybe I could do with them next year. And if you like to, please subscribe and like the page so that you can get all the notifications and updates of all the things that we are doing in the garden throughout the year. See you next time.